Hey everybody, it's Ed. The future is now, and the future is a price target for SPCE or Virgin Galactic. Stick around, watch the video if you want to find out what I think about this. I ran a basic spreadsheet and I wanted to get some idea of what their revenues would be like. And it's just total ballpark, but I just wanted to get something started. But before we get into it, make sure to smash the like button and be sure to subscribe for sure to the channel so you can see anything when it comes to Tesla or SPCE, and also hit the bell notification. That way it pops up and at least it shows it up in your screen. Doesn't cost anything to do, but it helps the channel out. And we make all of our spreadsheets available. If anybody wants a spreadsheet, no problem. Just email to teslastock2021@gmail.com. So this is really the first company to do space tourism as a service business. I like the concept of service business where you can continually sell the same service. $250,000 per ticket currently. So with the earnings report coming up, I didn't want to go into it blindfolded. I mean, does anybody know what their earnings report's going to be? The analyst put it at losing 18 cents per share. I think for this company, guidance in this situation is much more of a concern. What are they guiding for? Are they going to be launching? When are they going to be launching? When are they going to be pulling in revenue? And how's that going to offset? What are their debts like? What are their expenses like? So before we get into it, I want you to take this with a grain of salt. Okay, I don't have a ton of data to go with, so I'm just going with some of the data that I know here. Let me explain the spreadsheet really quick so you understand it. I had to abbreviate a lot of stuff so it's visible. And also, you probably want to watch this on a television or a widescreen or a tablet or something like that. It's going to be hard to see the numbers on an actual phone. So I made a legend on the left-hand side. You can see that column B is FPW or flights per week. C is PPF or passengers per week. And D is RPT or revenue per ticket. And then you have revenue per week, E, F would be revenue per quarter, G would be revenue per year. And then I had H for PE or forward PE, price per earnings, and then L for price per share. Now currently the only things we really know is that they were going to charge $250,000 per ticket. So we know that. We don't know how many people they're going to fly on each plane, or at least I haven't identified that. If anybody knows that, leave it in the comments so I can update this sheet. So we also know that they have issued 195 million shares in change, in which puts the share price at $20.51 or $20.48. I'm not sure exactly where it finished. And that put the market cap right about $4 billion today. Now we also know that they have one rocket in testing that's already been flying, and then we have another one that's in production. I'm not sure how close to the finished production that one is. That's current. So if they fly with 6 people per flight, which you can see 3 windows on each side. So I'm making a big guess there. I'm not sure it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or 6, or even 8 maybe. But that's what I'm going with right now. We'll find out more about the details on that. Now, if we assume for a minute that it is 6, you're multiplying that times 250 a ticket, or 1,500,000 per ride. Okay, and if they're riding 1 per week, they would end up clearing about 18 million a quarter or 78 million per year with 1 flight per week. At a forward PE of 25, that would value the company around 1.9, almost 2 billion. Well, right now we're at 4 billion. Okay, so essentially it would be overvalued if that was the scenario, right? Now let's say they come back on the conference call and say, okay, we're going to have the second rocket totally complete within a month or 2 or 3, and then let's say they're going to do 2 more by the end of the year. Think about what that would do as far as the impact the stock price. Now let's play devil's advocate and they say, okay, we're not even going to finish the second plane by the end of the year, but we'll probably launch the first plane maybe in November or quarter 4 at some point. What's that going to do to the stock price? So I believe that if they can scale up to 3 rockets by the end of the year and be taking 7 flights per week total, which is like one every few days, then you're looking at, essentially, let's think about it for revenue per year at about 327 million, or a basic evaluation around 8 billion. That could push the stock up to $42 per share. But that's also making some assumptions that they're not spending a ton of money, that they're going to be very profitable when it comes to the fuel cost and just the overall service cost that they're going to have to incur, not to mention, backdating some of the production costs in CapEx. I want you to realize this spreadsheet is going to probably be way off. I'm just trying to, brainstorm, trying to spitball what's going to happen and what could happen just by the general numbers we have currently. So obviously, it's nice to know what they're going to talk about on that earnings report so we can get an idea of how this company is structured. I don't really know exactly. They haven't really talked about it. So if I had to make a price target estimate by the end of the year, I'm usually very conservative. So I would say somewhere in between the 2 and 3 rockets, or 20 to 42, potentially around $30 a share. So to me, it's a value. If I'm buying it for 20 or 21 or 22, I can still see some value there potentially even by the end of the year, even if they only have 2 to 3 rockets in basically ready to roll. So I also like to make a long-term target or a 5-year target, for example. So in this scenario, I would say that they could probably build somewhere between 20 and 40 rockets within the next 5 years. I don't think it's going to be that severe for them to do that. I'm not sure how long it's going to take manufacturing wise, but I think that they can potentially do that. And if they do, then you're talking about a market cap of around 20 billion, or about 100 a share. So that's my overall long-term bull case. If they get to 20 to 40 rockets, cranking them out, flying 50 flights per week at 50,000. So that's assuming that if they do scale up, they can reduce the ticket price. I mean, they have to bring that ticket price. If they can bring the 250,000 to 50,000, it opens the door for other potential tourists and not just the super, super rich. So in that case, profitability is a big concern. I mean, are they going to be profitable if they get down to 50,000 or even lower potentially? Are they going to be profitable? Or can they actually use this service to travel people around the world? I mean, I think if they can get down to 20,000 or even 10,000 a flight, they could potentially do that. But 10 or 20,000, that could be out of the realm of possibility. Meaning they're not going to take losses. I don't see them doing that, to fly people around. So I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see how that plays out as well. So remember, a forward PE of 25 isn't totally outrageous here. I mean, if the forward PE gets higher, that share value also can get higher. I just like to be on the conservative side somewhat. I mean, to compare it to Tesla, Tesla's forward PE is like 110. Okay, think about it that way. Remember, I don't suggest to buy or sell any stocks or financial instruments whatsoever. I'm just trying to put out some data. I'm trying to learn myself. So I probably learn just as much from your comments and your insights as much as my own. So it's important for long-term planning on stocks that you get the maximum amount of information that you can come up with. And also, it's important to sift through the news and media, because this is going to be like any other stock. There's going to be analysts who are just going to terrorize it and completely knock it down no matter what. Just like Tesla, just like any disruption. So last but definitely not least is the stock move today. You guys know I always update you on the charts, and it looks like it broke that resistance, which is great. I'm a big fan of that. You guys know if you watched the last video. So we will end up buying in here. I'm not sure when. It's either tomorrow probably or Wednesday, most likely. We'll see. I'm going to buy into any weakness whatsoever now that it broke here. But I mean, that was good because I mean, we had 421 shares, so we end up making $682 today. So that justifies us putting a little more pressure on some more stocks ourselves personally. So ideally, we would like to add up to 1,000 shares to fill this position as a whole, and hopefully we're buying those 1,000 shares under 50 or under $40 a share. That would be ideal. But we're also buying as we go up, as we're profitable, to take less risk. If you just throw all your money in at one spot and it takes a dive, you're kind of trapped in that spot. Okay, we're already up over 100% on this position, so there's not a whole lot of risk in our situation right now. And we only have about 4% of our entire portfolio in space, and we want to get that percentage up to about 10. If I mean that would be a comfortable spot for a speculative stock like this. So I hope this gives you the most unbiased view that I can as a shareholder. Okay, I would love for the stock to go up, but I don't have control over that. My few shares are not going to play a big role in this. Okay, so this company, the big companies that are investing in this are going to push this stock all over the place. I'm just playing the game the best I can to maximize profits, to minimize the risk, and for long-term potential. I'm not really in it for the short term just because I do things in a short-term way at times. I'm still long-term when it comes to stocks as they go up, over time, assuming the company succeeds over time. So if you like this video, please click the like button and comment on anything you want. I'm an unemotional investor. I don't get married to stocks. So if you have something negative to say, I want to hear it just as much as the positives. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't get tied into stocks and just so in love with them that I can't let them go when the market tells me, okay, it's time to get out of this one or it's time to get out of that one or whatever. So remember, the future is now, and the future is another crazy ride on another super wild space growth stock. We'll see how this one plays out, but I'll keep you posted. Anything that's going on with this company that matters.